Hello, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are all welcome to our Arabic grammar series. Um, inshallah, we are on the topic Taqsim al-Jam'. After we've studied Taqsim al-Ism ila Mufrad wa Muthanna wa Jam', that we've studied the division of classification of nouns into Mufrad, singular, and Muthanna, dual, and then Jam'. You've already seen this in the previous lesson. Now in this episode we are going to look at the classification of the Jam'. The Jam', you see we have Mufrad. Mufrad is one. Dual, the Muthanna, it is also one. You just have a word and you add alif and nun and you have your dual, or you add yai and nun and you have your dual, like rajulani, rajulaini, dual. But then the jam'u, the plural, it has a lot of classifications. It has styles, different kinds of jam'u. The jam'u also has taqsim. Okay, so today we are looking at the taqsimul jam', the classification of the plural. Okay, he says al-amthila, examples. Hadara ar-rijalu, the men are here, or the men are present, or the men came. Hadara bimana, to be present. Says qara'tu al-kutuba, I read the books. Now be listening to it very well. Ar-rijal, men, plural. Al-kutub, plural, books. I read the books. Mashaytu fit turuqi, I walked in the streets or on the roads. I walked on the roads or in the streets. So it's also plural. Now we have ar-rijal, we have al-kutub, we have at-turuq. They are all what? Jam' or jumu'. They are all plurals. Now let's come here. We have faza al-mujidduna. Al-mujid is somebody who does things with jid, seriousness. That's where we say man jadda wajada. Whoever strives gets it. So when we say al-mujid, the one who does things with seriousness or strives. So al-mujidduna, the strivers or those who hard workers, faza, they've won. Faza al-mujidduna, the hard workers have won. Akramtu al-qadimina, I honored those approaching. Al-qadimina, those who have come. I say al-qadim, somebody who is coming, or something that is coming. So akramtu al-qadimina, I honored those coming. Qadimina is also jamu. Now we have al-mujidduna, duna. Singular is al-mujiddu. Here the singular is al-qadim. So we realize that waw and nun has been added here, and here yai and nun. It says raditu anil katibina, I am pleased with the writers. So mujidduna, al-qadimina, al-katibina, they are also what? Jumu. They are also jamu, plural. Okay, let's look at the last batch. It says fazat al-mujiddatu, the hard-working girls or women succeeded or passed. Akramtul qadimatu, qadimatu also those coming, but then girls or women. Raditu anil katibatu, katibati, I am pleased with the writers, the female writers. So the last one has to do with feminine, feminine, feminine. And then the second one here has to do with masculine, masculine, masculine. Then the first one is a mixture. It can be any. Okay. Now, even before we get to the bath, let me do a bit of explanation before we get to the bath. You look at this plural here. Ar-rijal is the plural of rajul, and that is masculine. And per ruling, to make the masculine plural, what do? We add waw and nun. Like this, faz al-mujidduna. Like you have al-muslim, al-muslimuna. You add waw and nun to the singular of the masculine word to make it plural. But it becomes a sound masculine plural. That's how we call it. Sound masculine plural. And then you can add yai and nun in cases. There are grammatical cases that makes it take waw and nun, and grammatical cases that makes it take what? Yai and nun. So in that case, you have akramtul qadimina, yai and nun being added, and then anil katibina, yai and nun be. All these are sound masculine plurals. When you come here, you don't see anything added at the end, waw and nun, to make the rajul, like you say rajuluna or rajulina. No, what we just did is that instead of rajul, we now say arri, say ri, rijal. We've added an alif here, we've changed the ra to kasra. So we've done some mess with the singular. We just picked the singular and we did some mess in the arrangement of the letters. We just rearranged the letters to form a plural. We didn't add something at the end. So with the sound masculine plural, why we call it sound masculine plural is that we don't tamper with the singular. So you realize that the singular here, al-mujiddu, is still fit. Al-qadim, here, the singular is still fit. Al-katib, the singular is still there. We just added something to make the plural. So the singular is still in shape. It is salim. So we say jam'un mudhakkarin salim. But then, when we look at the plurals in the first batch here, it is just the same letters, or some additions have been done inside. It doesn't have any order. In that case, we call it broken plural. Ar-rijalu is a masculine plural, but it is a broken plural. Al-qutub, the singular is what? Kitab. Where is the alif here? We've taken it out to form a jam. We've broken the singular format. Al-kutub, so it's also a broken plural. Jam'u taksir. We have at-turuq from tariq. At-tariq. At-tariq, where is the yai? We've taken out the yai and we've changed the vowels from ta, ri to tu, ruk. Turuq. We've broken the order of the singular to make the plural. That is also what? A broken plural. So the first batch here is what is called broken plural. That is when we don't follow any order. We just mess with the singular word and create the plural. And this first batch doesn't have any particular order that you learn so that you can create it. As you read and you see the plural of certain words, you memorize it as they are. So now you've seen the plural of rijal, you can go and say rajulun. You've seen the plural of kutub, you can go and say kitabun. And then you've seen the plural of at-tariq, you can say at-tariqun or at-tariqin. And then this second batch is what's called sound masculine plural. Sound masculine plural, that is the jam'u mudhakkar salim. And here we have jam'u taksir. At-taksir bimana broken or breaking. So we have jam'u taksir, jam'u mudhakkar salim. And then the last one is what? The way we see the alif and ta being added. Alif and ta, alif and ta. So in that case too, we don't mess with the singular. We just add alif and ta. So it is also a sound plural. We say sound feminine plural. Jam'u mu'annathin salim. Jam'u mu'annathin salim. Because the singular is still sound, we just added alif and ta. Okay, now let's go and read what it has to tell us. البحث الأسماء الأخيرة في الأمثلة القسم الأول كلها جموع. He said the nouns, the last nouns you are seeing in the qism al-awwal, the first part, all of them are what? Jumu', they are plurals. The rijal, kutub, and then what? Turuq. We have, they are all plurals. It says وَإِذَا نَظَرْنَا إِلَى مُفْرَدِ كُلِّ وَاحِدٍ مِنْهَا. If you look at the singular of each one of them, وَوَازَنَّا بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ جَمْعِهِ, وَوَازَنَّا, and we measure, we match up. وَوَازَنَّا بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ جَمْعِهِ. If you look at the singular of each of them, the kutub, the turuq, and then the rijal, and we measure it to its plural, what do we find? It says وَجَدْنَا صُورَتَهُ قَدْ تَغَيَّرَتْ. We find that its style, the style of the singular, the image of the singular has changed. قَدْ قد تغيرت في الجمع. The start of the singular changes when it becomes plural. فالرجال مثلا. So for example, the رجال جمع, it is a plural. مفرده is singular is what? رجل. Look at the vowels. رجل. There is no even alif here. But what happened? It says وقد تغيرت فيه صورة المفرد, and the image of the mufrad has changed بكسر الراء, by giving the ra kasra in the plural, وفتح الجيم, and giving jim fatha, وزيادة الألف, and adding alif. So we've changed the vowels somewhere and then we've added some alif somewhere. ومن أجل هذا التغيير الذي يشبه تكسير تكسير الشيء, which resembles the breaking of something. So due to this changes that we do, changing the vowels and putting certain letters in somewhere, due to these changes that looks like the breaking of something. So you have a full thing like this, then you break it and you fix something in the middle, you change the color of this. That is what this plural looks like. It says الذي يشبه تكسير الشيء بعد أن كان صحيحا, after it was alright, after it was okay. So rajul was normal, then we now came to give ra kasra, we give jim fatha, we add some alif after jim. So we've kind of broken it, putting bandages on it. تسمى هذه الجموع, this kind of plurals are called جموع التكسير. They are called جموع التكسير. One of it is جمع التكسير, plural جموع التكسير. Okay, so you take note of the first جمع that we've seen. It says والكلمات الأخيرة في القسم الثاني كلها جموع أيضا. So the last words in the second part, they are all plural also. وإذا نظرنا إلى مفرد كل منها, if you look at the singular of each of it, وجدناه يدل على مذكر, you realize that each singular refers to مذكر. So something like القادمين, each singular is القادم, that is مذكر, that is masculine. ووجدنا صورته سالمة, and you find that is the singular, the image of the singular as I displayed to you is still fixed, it doesn't change, it hasn't changed. لم تتغير في الجمع, the way the qadim is using is not changed. The katib is still katib, it's not changed. وإنما زيد عليها, but then زيد عليها واو ونون, waw and nun has been increased or has been added to it. زيد عليها, added to it. في الآخر, at its end we just add waw and nun. في المثال الأول, in the first example, that is what word we have there, al-mujidduna. So al-mujidduna, the mujid is still there, we just added what? We just added waw and nun. And he says we can add waw and nun, and he says أو يا ونون كما في المثالين الأخيرين, as in the last two examples. ومن أجل ذلك يسمى كل واحد من هذه الجموع, and due to that each one of these plurals is called جمع مذكر سالما. It's called جمع مذكر سالما. So that is the second type of plural we have. You take note of that also. Okay. And he says وإذا نظرنا إلى الكلمات الأخيرة في القسم الثالث, if you look at the last part where you talk about the feminine, that's وجدناها أيضا جموعا, we realize that they are also plurals. وإذا تأملنا مفرد كل منها, if you ponder over or look into the singular of each of them, وجدناه يدل على مؤنث. So الكاتبات, the singular is what? الكاتبة. القادمات, the singular is what? القادمة. الكاتبة. Okay. المجدة. So we realize that their singular refers to feminine. ووجدنا صورته سالمة, and its image is also sound. We don't break the singular. لم تتغير في الجمع, in making the plural we don't break the singular. وإنما زيد عليها ألف وتاء, زيد عليها ألف وتاء في الآخر. But then what do? A particular alif and ta has been added to the ending of it. And it says what? وَمِنْ أَجْلِ ذَلِكَ, and due to that, يُسَمَّى كُلَّ واحد من هذه الجموع جمع مؤنث سالم. Or يسمى كل واحد من هذه الجموع جمع مؤنث سالم. That is the third plural we have. جمع مؤنث سالم. جمع مؤنث سالم أو سالم. Okay. Now we have three plurals. جمع التكسير, جمع مذكر سالم, جمع مؤنث سالم. القاعدة says ينقسم الجمع ثلاث أقسام. The plural is divided into three parts. You should note it. The first is جمع التكسير, and then جمع مذكر سالم, and then جمع مؤنث سالم. That is the three. And so he says فجمع التكسير, the جمع التكسير ما دل على أكثر من اثنين, that which refers to more than two things, بتغير صورة مفرده, by changing the structure of the singular. If you change the structure of a singular to make the plural, then we call this جمع التكسير. And he says وجمع المذكر السالم, the sound masculine plural, ما دل على أكثر من اثنين, that which refers to more than two things, but then بزيادة واو ونون أو ياء ونون في آخره. جمع مذكر سالم is that which refers to more than two things by adding waw and noon or yai and noon to each singular to make the plural. If you add waw and noon or yai and noon to make a plural, it becomes a plural of masculine, sound masculine. وجمع المؤنث السالم ما دل على أكثر من اثنين, and the sound feminine plural is that which refers to more than two things بزيادة ألف وتاء, by the addition of alif and ta to make the plural. So if you have a word as sayyara and I say sayyarat, it's a sound feminine plural. Okay, so here we add waw and noon or yai and noon to make the plural, but then in the جمع التكسير we do it by تغير صورة مفرده, by changing the structure of each singular. Okay, let's take note of it. The جمع مذكر سالم, you can form it. It has a basic ruling. جمع مذكر سالم, add waw and noon or yai and noon. جمع مؤنث سالم, add alif and ta. But then جمع التكسير, you just learn it as you go on, keep reading, then you come and understand how the plurals work. You keep memorizing it as you see it. Now let's do some i'rab. حضر الرجال. حضر فعل ماضي مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب. حضر فعل ماض, a past tense verb, مبني على الفتح, it is indeclinable construct on فتح, لا محل له من الإعراب, it has no place in grammatical changes, it doesn't change its vowel. And then الرجال is فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. Okay. قرأت الكتب. قرأت فعل وفاعل, سي فعل ماضي مبني على السكون لاتصاله بتاء الفاعل المتحرك, والتاء ضمير متصل مبني على الضم في محل رفع فاعل. الكتب مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه الفتحة. Okay. مشيت في الطرق. مشيت فعل وفاعل is also فعل and is فاعل. مشيت فعل ماضي مبني على السكون لاتصاله بتاء الفاعل المتحرك, والتاء ضمير متصل مبني على الضم في محل رفع فاعل. في حرف جر مبني على السكون لا محل له من الإعراب. الطرق اسم مجرور وعلامة جره الكسرة. Okay. And then we come here. فاز المجدون. فاز فعل ماضي مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب. المجدون فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الواو لأنه جمع مذكر سالم. المجدون فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الواو لأنه جمع مذكر سالم. The sign that shows that it is marfu is not the dhamma, is no dhamma, is the wow. Okay. أكرمت فعل وفاعل again فعل ماضي مبني على السكون لاتصاله بتاء الفاعل المتحرك. When فعل ماضي comes into contact with تاء فتحة تاء ضمة تاء كسرة, the فعل ماضي ends with سكون. I think we did بناء فعل ماضي. I don't know if we did بناء فعل ماضي previously, but فعل ماضي it's مبني always. But when it comes into contact with تاء الفاعل تاء فتحة تاء ضمة تاء كسرة, أكرمتي أكرمت أكرمت, in that case the meme that ends the verb أكرم becomes sukun. ذهبت ذهبتي ذهبت, the bow of the ذهب becomes sukun. When it comes into contact with this tau, that's what happens. So I say فعل ماضي مبني على السكون لاتصاله بتاء الفاعل المتحرك. The tau is what is called the tau الفاعل. It shows us who the fa'il is. وَالتَّا, and the tau is ضمير متصل. It's a pronoun that is attached to the verb. مبني على الضم, it is always found with dhamma. أكرمت, the tau that refers to ana, it's always with dhamma. So والتاء ضمير متصل مبني على الضم في محل رفع فاعل. It is in the position of the fa'il. القادمين is what? مفعول به, is the object. So in this case that it becomes مفعول به is what? مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه الياء. الياء هنا. So when it is جمع مذكر سالم is مرفوع, the sign that shows it is مرفوع is واو. When it is مجرور, when it is منصوب, the sign that shows it's منصوب, the واو becomes ياء. Take note of that. القادمين مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه الياء لأنه جمع مذكر سالم. رضيت عن الكاتبين. رضيت فعل ماضي مبني على السكون لاتصاله بتاء الفاعل المتحرك, والتاء ضمير متصل مبني على الضم في محل رفع فاعل. عن حرف جر مبني على السكون لا محل له من الإعراب. الكاتبين اسم مجرور وعلامة جره الياء. So when جمع مذكر سالم is مجرور, it ends with ياء. The واو becomes ياء again. So the sign, the جمع مذكر سالم, when it is mansub, when it is majrur, it takes ياء instead of the واو. Okay. فازت المجدات. فازت المجدات. The verb is فازت. The ya kasra here is to aid reading. Because there is skun here, skun can't be here. That is what we call التقاء الساكنين. فازت. فازت فعل ماضي مبني على الفتح لا محل له من الإعراب. والتاء ضمير متصل, والتاء تاء التأنيث مبني على السكون لا محل له من الإعراب. The ta is actually with sukun, is fazet, but then because of reading the kasra is brought there to aid reading. المجدات فاعل مرفوع وعلامة رفعه الضمة الظاهرة على آخره. So when جمع مؤنث سالم is مرفوع, it takes dhamma. Okay, أكرمت, the same i'rab as I did before. القادمات. القادمات مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه الكسرة. What do we say? نيابة عن الفتح. القادمات مفعول به منصوب وعلامة نصبه الكسرة نيابة عن الفتحة لأنه جمع مؤنث سالم. It is when جمع مؤنث سالم is منصوب, instead of fatha it takes kasra. جمع مؤنث سالم does not take fatha. It takes kasra when it is mansub in replacement of the fatha. Okay. رضيت عن, the same i'rab we did for this. الكاتبات اسم مجرور وعلامة جره الكسرة. That is normal. Okay, in case there is anything that is unclear in the i'rab or in what is read, you are free to ask questions, inshallah. Okay, this brings us to the end of this particular session. I pray it's clear as usual. Whatever is unclear, please do. النحو, as I've always been telling you, يحتاج إلى التوضيح. يجب أن نفهمها فهما صحيحا. يجب أن نفهم النحو فهم صحيح فلا نأتي نشك في الإعراب. When you have anything, you shouldn't be confused about its i'rab. Please do well to ask whatever that is unclear for you. Okay, till we meet again, have a very good time. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe if you've not done so. Don't forget to hit the like button if you are enjoying the video. Okay, till we meet again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.